Mr. President.
Senator from Kansas is
Mr.
recognized.
President, thank you. Today I want to speak about a program that has shaped our nation's humanitarian efforts and made a significant impact on my home state of Kansas, a program called Food for Peace. In 1953, agricultural surpluses had reached an all-time high, but the price of storing excess commodities was too expensive to rationalize, and it was at risk of going to waste. Kansas farmers, like Cheyenne County's Peter O'Brien, worked hard to cultivate and grow these commodities. Looking for a solution, Peter suggested at a local Farm Bureau meeting that maybe the excess food could be sent to countries in need. Peter understood that out of our abundance, we have a moral duty and opportunity to feed the hungry. His idea sparked the origin of a program we now know as Food for Peace. Another Kansan, one of my predecessors, Andy Scheppel, led the Food for Peace Act in the Senate, which was signed into law by President Eisenhower, another Kansan, in 1954, and Senator Bob Dole from Russell, Kansas, later championed the reauthorization of Food for Peace. The program's premise was simple but impactful. By leveraging the food surpluses that we produce in Kansas and across the nation, we could address famine around the world while creating new markets for our commodities and bolstering our agricultural economy. The first shipments of American wheat and corn were sent to Korea and Greece in 1954, and by the end of Food for Peace's initial year of operation, it had fed 1.2 million people. Over the last 70 years, the program has fed more than 4 billion people in more than 150 countries, all with American-grown commodities. Hunger, whether driven by price increases or food shortages, can act as a catalyst for protests and armed conflict. We've seen how food can be used as a weapon of war, as radical Islamic groups in Syria use food as a means to recruit soldiers. We've witnessed regions of the world that are critical to America's strategic interest descend into chaos due to people not having access to affordable food. In a turbulent world stricken with conflict, American leadership is more than just our military and our economic might. Food aid provided by the United States reduces despair and increases stability within fragile countries by enabling economic productivity and minimizing the risk of radicalization. For countless individuals around the world, their survival is dependent upon the resources provided by the American people. These vulnerable populations rely on the strength and prosperity of the United States. However, much work remains in the ongoing battle against hunger, and part of that battle is improving the process and programs that administer our aid. Food for Peace is administered by the USAID, and the inefficiency of USAID has been a growing concern. The agency struggles with bureaucratic delays, mismanagement, and a lack of coordination, which undermines its ability to deliver effectively aid to those in need. This inefficiency not only wastes taxpayer dollars, but also diminishes the impact of Americans' foreign aid in addressing global crises. Reports suggest that millions of taxpayer dollars have been allocated to promoting tourism in Lebanon and Egypt, funding the purchase of electric vehicles for Vietnam, and inadvertently supporting the cultivation of opium in Afghanistan. Even more concerning, it has been confirmed that $9 million intended for civilian food and medical supplies in Syria fell into the hands of terrorist organizations linked to al-Qaeda due to the failed oversight of USAID. Amid these concerns of corruption, President Trump has taken steps to dismantle USAID. In conjunction with the President's action and with approval of the White House policy team, I've introduced a bill with Senator John Hoeven and Senator Roger Marshall and Representative Tracy Mann to move Food for Peace from the turbulent USAID program and move it to the Department of Agriculture in an effort to prevent waste and bring the program closer to farmers that depend upon it. USDA has a long and proven history of managing agricultural policy and programs that support American farmers, food distribution systems, and global security efforts. USDA has boots on the ground and the infrastructure already in place to support the logistics for food assistance. The agency understands how to move crops efficiently, sustainably, and quickly. This knowledge is indispensable when responding to international crises, where speed and reliability can mean the difference between life and death. By placing Food for Peace under USDA's authority, we make certain that the program is in good hands and can continue to bring revenue to American agriculture. As just a little over an hour ago, the Senate confirmed the new Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. I've no doubt she will be an excellent advocate for our nation's farmers, and I appreciate the conversations we've already had on this legislation. The Secretary has told me she's excited about this proposal and looks forward to working together on this issue. We produce more than we can consume in this nation, so without programs to export to, our ability to make a living in agriculture in Kansas and across the country disappears. In FY23 alone, $713 million of U.S.-grown commodities were purchased by the Food for Peace program, putting money back into the hands of farmers. In rural America, food assistance programs like Food for Peace put American-grown products in the hands of the hungry, and this food is a tangible extension of the hard work and dedication of farmers and ranchers. I'm pleased to help find ways to make our delivery of food aid more effective, more efficient, and remove the challenges and things that we've seen that are so disturbing. America is the greatest country on earth and the most prosperous. Food for Peace bolsters the farmers who feed us, creates a more stable world, and feeds the hungry. Mr. President, I yield the floor.